Joining us now is Joseph Palland. He's the founder of the Blockchain for Climate Foundation. Joseph, I have a hard enough time getting my head around NFTs, let alone trying to understand the energy use behind them and your initiative to try to cut that energy use. So start wherever you think would be the best place to explain to our viewers what your effort's all about.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And I agree that on its face, it's kind of complex. We have the good fortune at Blockchain for Climate Foundation to have been working in the climate space for a long time, and then going down the blockchain rabbit hole a couple years ago, and working on our initiative to put the Paris Agreement on the blockchain and connect the national carbon accounts of the world to enable cross-border collaboration. So we've actually been building an NFT-based platform to connect countries through the Paris Agreement. And this will allow issuance and exchange of tokens. And, you know, as climate professionals, we have been engaging with this reality. And so when we saw you know, the rise of interest in NFTs and the amazing work that artists are doing to gain back the means of production, to be monetizing their work and engaging in a whole new creative way. And at the same time, a lot of concern rising around what exactly is the climate impact of this work. We recognized we needed to jump in.
Okay, so explain again how that is actually going to work. How are you reducing the impact on the electricity grid and everything else as a result of this added activity of people using Ethereum, for example, in the blockchain there to buy NFTs? Absolutely.
So the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain is always running. It's always with us now. And it is always having a bunch of specialized computers that are running full time to secure the network and to close the blocks on the blockchain. They happen every 15 seconds or so. And right now, all of the transactions on there are full as well. There's a really keen distinction that I was able to make for myself a couple of weeks ago when really digging in hard to this, which is there are emissions from the Ethereum network and from other proof of work blockchains. But somebody jumping in and making one more NFT or 1,000 more NFTs or purchasing them would rightly be assessed to be part of that carbon footprint. So if you're using the network and you're using, say, you know, 1,000th of a person, you know, 1% of it, then you're responsible for 1% of the carbon footprint. And I think that's fair. That's the way we deal with if you're taking a bus or riding as a passenger in a car, because who else are those emissions going to be allotted to except for the end user? What's very interesting, though, is that additional NFTs or additional transactions on the blockchain actually don't directly cause any more emissions because there's a set number of emissions that are happening from the blockchain at any time. And so if I hop in with an NFT transfer, that's going to bump other transactions to another point, and it doesn't change the level of emissions that are happening. There is an indirect process where if there's lots of people using the system, it becomes more profitable for Ethereum miners to add more capacity, add more specialized computers. Those will use more electricity, and in that indirect pathway, increase the emissions.
I mean, it's fascinating, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. But just, I guess, more broadly, stepping back and looking at what we're seeing in terms of this bigger crypto craze, whether it's NFTs, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's, you know, Bitcoin, and just the emissions, the electricity usage. Are we going to see, as this continues to, I guess, take root, a more lockstep approach with the adoption of alternative and clean energy sources? Would you expect to see more actual outright partnerships?
I definitely would expect to see more partnerships. So I have friends that are working on setting up mining systems, mostly in blockchain and other systems, using clean energy. I'm based in British Columbia, Canada. So we have a almost completely clean hydro grid. So I do see that happening. And there is some argument that people are citing their mining facilities, all their special computers, in locations with low energy costs, which in certain circumstances will correlate with cleaner energy. We know now that adding wind to the grid in a lot of places in America is actually the cheapest power available. So I do see that.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.